Peace, brother Chauncey. How you doing? Peace. Peace. So, peace and power and elevation be to you beautiful people out there. So it's very unexpected for me to come in tonight, but I have to do this because it's very therapeutic and it's needed at the moment. Because when you have a rough day at work, you gotta come home and you gotta find your peace. So I decided to do a subject tonight dealing with the modern human and the brain. So the topic centered around the concept of behavioral science and cognitive science. So the question is, are the brains of modern human beings getting smaller? And if so, what causes our brain to decrease? And why is our brain decreasing? So I have an article that I was checking out. I had posted up on my Facebook or Meta, and I want to go ahead and discuss on this interesting topic. So let me go ahead and share it with you guys. So right here, as you can see, the topic is our brains are getting smaller in modern human beings by Mankarai Yokuban, if I'm saying his name correctly. All right, so this came out of PsyPost.org, and it was published in Brain Behavior Evolution. Okay, but I want to go ahead and read something. I just want to read the first paragraph. So research published in Brain Behavior and Evolution has identified decreases to encephalization levels in modern humans, with much of these declines being explained by increase in obesity. Throughout the past 4 million years, hominin body size have increased, with the brain growing at a disproportionate rate in relation to the rest of the body. Increasing encephalization is believed to be the main driver of the higher cognitive ability observed in mammals. Contrasting millions of years of hominin evolution, brain mass of the anatomically modern Homo has significantly decreased in the last 50,000 years. All right, so I'm going to skip down, and it goes on to say in the studies, specimen were only included if there were sufficient remains to generate independent estimates of both body and brain mass. 30 Holocene and 25 late Pleistocene AM Homo skeletal dimensions, which allows for cranial and postcranial estimates, were utilized alongside 16 older hominin specimens, which were used for broader comparison. And the autopsy data for 19 individuals deceased between 1980 to 1982 was utilized for modern humans. All right, so then I'm going to skip down because there's a lot to get into. It says the absolute brain size was found to have decreased by 5.415% in modern humans, with significant reduction in Homo encephalization during modern periods. As well, changes to body size appear to explain most of the recent changes in human brain size. So now I want to just stop right there. What is the main cause of brain decrease of human? Well, there's multiple factors that can cause a human's brain to decrease. Environmental factor is one. The nutrition is two. The climate is three. And also human's activity is four. And then you got to look at stress. So what I'm saying is these things play a major factor into why our brains are decreasing at the size, because we live in a different time period versus how things was in ancient time. And so we're living under the concept of technology. So technology in a nutshell has made us humans be a little bit more lazy. And why do I say that? Because we're not making our brains more active like it should. Okay. When you do things manually, your brain becomes more active. But when you do things just relying on technology, then your brain is not active. I mean, it's active, but it's not as active as it would be doing things manually. Okay. So in a way, technology does play a part in that. And here's the thing: we think that technology is really doing some work for humanity as far as making humanity better, but it's really not. It's only making humanity a lot worse. And what I'm saying is because we're at the same time we're slowly destroying our ecosystem by using all these technological advances. All right, we're slowly destroying the environment around us. So I believe this article. When I read the article, I believed it because it makes a lot more sense because of how things are done, how we are living in these times. So human activity are not is not based on productivity like it was at one point in time. So things have become a lot easier for humans, and also our eating habits. We don't eat enough proper nutrition. Many of us consume off of sweets and salt all the time, and which cause us to either have issues with our weight or issue with our blood pressure or sugar. So which that can do numbers to our brain. Then to top it off, you have an increase of people doing drugs and alcohol. So when drugs and alcohol play a part in that itself, these things can contribute to those factors, especially when it comes to chemical reaction. So when you intake a lot of chemicals from the drugs or the alcohol, then that causes the brain to react differently, and it does some type of nerve damage. So picture this example: a person recovering from drug addiction. However, they might be a recovering addict, but they still have a part of them that still have that addiction to drugs. So they don't go back to being who they were in the very beginning. They don't go back to being their regular selves because there's some malfunction in their brain. There's some type of dysfunction going on. So the brain is not going to function like it was at one point in time because over the years of inducing drugs and alcohol. All right. So I want to go back to this article. All right. Yeah, let me go back to the article. So going down here, to where it says, given environmental factors are more transient than genetics, it is unclear whether physical changes to the brain or genetic predispositions will produce a negative impact on human cognitive ability in the long term. But Stable highlights signs that point to a possible reversal of the Flynn effect, a phenomenon describing the long-term positive impact of environmental factors on human intelligence throughout the 20th century. Well, and then that's where my disagreement come in. Because once there is a long-term effect, then it's hard to go back to the original thing. I mean, you'll gain part of it back, but then it's not going to be as functional as it was before. So that's where my minor disagreement come in with the article. But get back to what I was stating before. As human, we don't take care of ourselves properly, and we don't take care of our environment. So while we think that we're trying to improve as humanity, we're actually destroying our environment at the same time. We bring about a form of destruction. I mean, in multiple ways. The neighborhoods we live in, we pollute our neighborhoods. Also, being around or living in the areas where there's a lot of chemicals, such as like if you live in an environment where there's warehouses and that warehouse has like toxic chemicals around and you inhale those chemicals, what happens? It does something to the brain. Then on top of that, there's people that lives in poor conditioning, such as people living in houses that's molded really bad, areas that's full of lead poisoning. So we have to look at multiple things that's happening. So what causes the brain to decrease? And for the most part, I believe this article. I think this article is very conclusive. It's pretty reliable, but I just have my own view about it as well. So there's just a little minor disagreement that I have, but at the same time, but the article is just very thorough, and I believe that it's on point. So, and that's just my opinion on it. Also, it states here, it says, despite negative selective pressures, measure of general intelligence and educational attainment have risen throughout the past century, with short-term changes in general intelligence being largely driven by environmental factors such as health, education, and technology, which could offset or enhance long-term genetic trends. However, genetic intelligence is hereditary. Thus, brain size and genetic intelligence do not predetermine general intelligence at an individual, group, or species level. So these things can be genetic as far as genetic intelligence is concerned, but again, it just doesn't determine the factor of general intelligence because everybody's intellectual level is different. So some people might be intellectual when it comes to music. Some people might be intellectual when it comes to reading. Some people might be intellectual when it comes to certain subject field. So there is always some form of intelligence, but it's just based on the person's skills and what their knowledge is and where their strength and weakness. All right. But outside of that, where I stand on this, I feel like environmental factors play a role in this. Our health is a big part of this as well. And the amount of stress that we intake, the amount of chemicals that we're exposed to. So a lot of this plays a part, and it explains why humans' brains are getting smaller and decreasing, etc. And that's it. That's all I have to say. So if you guys want to check this article out, you should do so. And it says decreases in brain size and encephalization in anatomically modern human being. So this is the primary source. Okay. And it's on Karger.com, Karger.com. All right. So this is the name of the website. It is Karger.com. And the title is Brain, Behavior, and Evolution. All right. But anyways, that's all I have to say for tonight. And with that being said, peace and power and elevation be to all of you. And thank you for tuning in and watching. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later. All right. Peace.